Welcome back to Farming Simulator, and this is a remake of my best crop prices video. If you watched the first one, then there are some small changes coming up in this because I'm making this after the 1.3 update to the game, and Giants have changed some things. So the nice thing about the way that I make this video is I can do an update to this relatively quickly. I have tested a few things that may have been affected by the update, and we'll talk about those as we go through. The way that I do this video is a combination of different methods. So I look at the data, I look at the XML data that's part of the game. I also test some things. So I've tested some aspects of some of the crops, particularly some of the outlier crops. I look at other people's videos as well to check that the information that I'm presenting to you is sensible and correct, particularly with some of the outlier numbers. So yeah, I'm not saying it's the definitive answer. I would suggest you use it to maybe help you decide how you want to play. And yeah, let's get stuck in to looking at the updated numbers. Most of them haven't changed. I'll point out what's changed as we go through. Yeah, here they are. So before I start talking about what data we have, let me talk about what's in this table. So we've got each of the different crops in the game except grapes and olives, because I don't particularly care about grapes and olives, so I haven't included those. And then for each crop I've got the yield in liters per meters squared. So this is, the bigger your field, the more you will get. So it doesn't account for field size because it's per square meter. And then the price per litre that you will get, this comes out of the XML. And then the best seasonal multiplier. So this assumes that you're selling at the best price, or you're using guaranteed crop prices and you're getting the best seasonal multiplier. And then the seed used in litres per metre squared, and then the cost of that seed per metre squared. And then for crops that have alternative seeding options like potatoes or poplar or sugarcane, I've used the price for those. Things like potatoes, obviously you could grow your own potatoes and use those to plant, which makes it a bit cheaper, but I've assumed you're buying stuff, and in the future we'll have mods that might make that cheaper as well. But I've assumed normal difficulty game prices for all of those things. So let's start at the bottom and work our way up. The other two columns, the important ones, I guess. Value per meter squared then of the crop. So that doesn't account for the cost of seeding. I don't account for things like fertilizing and weeding and any of that. That doesn't work with the method that I use, and it doesn't account for any of the machinery costs and things like that. This is just the straight value of the crop you're going to get per meters squared, and the cost of seeding, or accounting for the cost of seeding. So it's some pretty simple maths, to be honest. But it's a nice, easy way of doing it. And it makes it very easy to update, like I've done this time. So as I've then sorted it by the value of the crop per meter squared, including the cost of seed. So let's start from the bottom, work our way up. Right at the very bottom, we've got grass and hay doing a single cut. It's quite unlikely, I think, that you'd plant grass and do a single cut, but they're there. And we've then got wheat, oats and barley, and that is not including selling the straw. We will see the effect of selling the straw later on. I also include swathing and selling the straw. And with wheat, oats and barley, as you go through swathing, you increase. Swathing increases the yield by 25%. And then if you with wheat, oats and barley, if you sell the straw, obviously you make money, and if you swath and sell the straw, you make even more, and it becomes quite a profitable crop. But kind of as we scroll up through, the first change that we see is they have increased the seeding rate of canola. I think it was down at like 0.0007, so a big increase in the amount of seed used. Very clearly that was a typo. I don't think it's really moved its position in the chart particularly. Swathing canola makes it somewhat profitable. It kind of puts it as a mid-table crop, and not swathing it, not particularly profitable. And that's kind of been where it sits normally in FS. Though it's a crop that people like to grow, not particularly profitable. One mistake that I had corrected is I previously had sorghum as a swathable crop. It's not. That was a mistake on my part. We see the first of our new crops coming in with long grain rice. I was kind of surprised that they didn't make that one of the more profitable crops, but I guess it's quite a low effort crop. So a lot of the ones that we're seeing at the bottom are the ones that are easy. They're combinable crops, so they're quick to turn around. And that generally reflects the income. The easier a crop is to work, traditionally, the lower the profitability in farm sim. So as we then work our way up, we've got green beans coming in as well. And then we start to see the wheat, oats and barley with straw, silage with a single cut, and then swath canola, soybeans sat in the middle there. Not as profitable as you might think. Swathing them does increase that by about 25%, as you would expect. But there are more profitable crops in the game, which again, there always has been. Once you get into things like cotton, potatoes, the root crops, they are more profitable. But then we start to see if you're swathing and you're selling the straw, wheat, oats and barley becomes a reasonably profitable option, and probably quite quick to turn around. So something you might want to consider. And then we start to get into the specialist crops, and we should start to talk about grass. So one of the things that I have checked and I was expecting to change currently, when you cut grass, you get the same yield at both harvest ready states. So you'll see for grass and hay and silage, when we get further up the table, I've included the yield calculations and the return then for 3 full cuts. For silage, I've included 2.5 cuts because that's what I would expect to get in a year. And I'm expecting Giants will fix that. You could probably get 4 full cuts because you could probably cut at the first harvest ready state and get 4 full cuts off, but I haven't included that, but it'll give you a bit more profitability. But I'm expecting that to be patched because you shouldn't get the same yield off of the first time you can get harvest ready and the full harvest ready. So expect that one to be patched out. So yeah, we're then into things like cotton, potatoes, the short grain rice or normal rice, and we're starting to get into quite profitable crops. So we've got the full 3 cuts of hay there, beetroot, maize silage, like a nice good profitable crop there. It's a good crop and it's quite quick to work still, but you've got an extra step. Obviously, you've got to ferment it. We're then into parsnips and some of the new crops then, peas, spinach and peas. Peas are one that had their yield increase. They had their yield doubled. So that's moved that up the table quite a long way, doubling the yield. Big increase in profitability, obviously. We then got sugar beet. I haven't included cut sugar beet. Maybe I should. That does increase its profitability. We've then got carrots, sugarcane. Sugarcane's obviously a lot of work. And then grass silage. And if you're getting 2.5 or 3 cuts off of that, it's still a pretty profitable crop. Quite quick, quite low cost to do. And then the insanity that is poplar. For some reason, Giants increased the yield of poplar in this update by 2.3 times. It was already by far the most profitable crop in the game. When I saw this, I did wonder if they had removed the multiplier that you get for harvesting. So there's a 3 times multiplier on harvesting with either with a forage harvester and with the biobaler, because the biobaler counts as a forage harvester. So I went and did some testing. I checked the data first. The data has it in, done some testing, and yes, it is indeed that crazy. Off of field 82 on Zolonka, which is a very small field, I got over £80,000 worth of wood chips. Yeah, I'm still expecting this to be fixed, but poplar is still absolutely insane. It's slower growing, so a couple of things with poplar. One, once you've harvested it once, it does give you the needs plowing state on the field. That does not affect the yield from poplar. Poplar is not affected by the needs plowing state. I have tested that, and it's also in the XML. It is a slower growing crop. The testing that I've done and the testing that I've seen other people do, it takes about 12 to 14 months to grow. Someone did comment on the last video that actually you're only getting a crop off of the field every couple of years. I'm testing that still. So even if that's the case, it is almost an order of magnitude more profitable than in fact, for most crops, it is an order of magnitude more profitable than every other crop. So even if that is the case, it is still by far worth it. I do not understand the insanity that giants have put into poplar. I'll pop a graph up on the screen which kind of illustrates it as well. Yeah, it's insane. I don't get it. I do not understand why giants have done this. I don't have a problem with it. I'm going to be farming poplar. Clearly poplar is very popular in the giants offices. Yeah, so that's the update to the best crop prices video based on update 1.3 of the game. If giants update the game again and change things, I will rerun the numbers in the spreadsheet and I'll do an update. I will post this table on the community page on my channel as well, so you can see it and have a look at it and compare the numbers if you want. Yeah, if you enjoyed the video, click the like button. If you want to see more like this, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.